Is everything illegal in America today?
You have no idea what you're up against.
This could happen to you.
My last Fox News special tried to keep up with the thousands of pages of new rules that America adds every week. Rules that make doing this illegal.
We were just selling lemonade.
I shouldn't have sold it to you. I have to get it back.
Silly law.
America has rules that limit what food you can sell.
It seemed like they thought we had cocaine in the papayas or something.
And rules that, well, who knows what they'll come up with next. Bans on candy and Coke, maybe?
And we need to keep them away from soft drinks.
Also, this man, who worked for 2 presidents' drug czars, is back to dispute what I said about drug legalization.
We should be kicking down more doors.
And this sex worker is back to defend her profession.
Here it's safe. We have a problem, the sheriff comes.
More and more rules. That's our show tonight.
And now, John Stossel.
Look at this, 160,000 pages of rules. That's how many the feds alone have passed. Local governments have added more. Some of the rules are stupid. Some contradict each other. But they keep passing new ones. Thousands of pages every month. None of us can know if we're following all these rules. We can hire lawyers, but even they don't understand because much of the law is incomprehensible. So, what if you're an entrepreneur? What if you want to produce things or sell things? You have to try to figure out those rules, but it's not easy, even for something as simple as a lemonade stand. When I opened one, the government said I had to take a 15-hour food protection class. It includes information about the puffer fish and barracuda and bicycle safety. To sell lemonade? I didn't want to spend the months it would take to go through all that, so my Fox lawyers said I could do it if I didn't let people drink the lemonade, and I gave everyone their money back. Because of the incomprehensible rules, lots of people say, the heck with it. They give up altogether, go underground, or break the rules. Americans now have to, says the author of the book. Technically, that's illegal. And she's Ann Satley. She's a stay-at-home mom from Indiana who tries to follow the law but says it's not possible. And Fox business anchor David Asman is here to share what he's learned about the unintended consequences of all these well-intended rules. So, Ann, you first. You say it's not possible to obey the rules?
No, and I would know because I actually read all of this. This is my city's municipal code.
This little town of Marion. So they've added all this plus all these 160,000 pages of federal rules.
Yes, correct. And this is no different than most other towns that you will encounter.
And so what'd you find?
Well, I found that the regular person is not obeying the law the way that they think they are.
There was a guy fined for giving rides to potential drunk drivers, trying to be a good Samaritan.
Well, you know, they didn't get the proper permit. The taxi drivers in the town petitioned the city to make it illegal because he was taking business away from them, supposedly.
And you found you were breaking some laws.
I was breaking quite a few without realizing it.
Like?
Well, we have our trash containers out for collection too early. We don't always take them in on time. We did not have our animals registered with the city. We did not have our bicycles registered with the city.
Does anyone?
Not that I know of.
But the law is on the book.
Correct.
And you went there and you tried to register and they laughed at you.
Well, we were able to register our pets, but we were not able to register bicycles.
I mean, the law in this code says no person shall ride or propel a bicycle unless such bicycle has been licensed. 25 cents shall be paid to the city.
Every 2 years.
And this was written in 1896. So, David, you've seen the damage this does to entrepreneurs.
Well, it's funny because a lot of these codes and rules and regulations are commonplace in banana republics. I used to cover Latin America. I did it for 15 years, and that's what holds these banana republics down. That's why they're majority poor countries instead of majority middle-class countries, because what these rules and regs hit hardest is not only individual behavior, but the small businesses. The big guys, they have lawyers and accountants, and they can afford the people to get them past these rules and regs. But small businesses, sometimes as absurd and ridiculous as some of these rules are, Others rules stick. That is, some of them can stymie small businesses from getting a foot up, and they literally go out of business as a result.
So in banana republics, the very rich have lawyers or they bribe the politicians.
That's right.
But the middle class, the small guys, they don't try, or they have to sneak and go underground, and that keeps Latin America poor, and we're becoming more like that.
We are becoming more like that, and every time nowadays when there are efforts to try to make life easier for small and mid-sized business, for instance, there's something called crowdfunding. Have you ever heard of crowdfunding?
I have. This is on the internet. You say, I got a new idea. You want to invest?
Exactly. Well, it's illegal. It has been illegal because of rules that existed from the 1930s. Well, a lot of people in the House, in the Congress, realized that was silly because right now small businesses need credit. Well, the Senate has ladled this thing down with so many new rules and regs prohibiting,
all well intended to protect you might invest and be hurt.
Investors, but the fact is that it limits the choice, and it opens up so many avenues for lawsuits from investors who can claim, well, according to the new law that the Senate has, whenever you limit choice and make life easier for lawyers, there's something wrong. I think that's sort of the Asman rule, of course. You know, if it benefits lawyers and limits individual choice, it's bad. And that's what we have too much of now in our society.
Let me go to a few more of your examples. Crossing the street.
Yeah, we don't have a big pedestrian problem in Marion, but according to the code, I don't remember exactly how it's written, but you have to cross.
Well, I happen to have it here. No pedestrian shall cross a roadway at any place other than the route at right angles.
Yeah, I don't have a protractor with me when I cross the street, but that happens to be the law.
Has to be a 90-degree angle. And in New York City, it's illegal to run into the path of a vehicle, like you had to be told that. It's also illegal to jaywalk, and we all do it here.
Right.
Which leads to the part that makes me uncomfortable, which is that these laws, people say, oh, well, don't worry, they don't enforce them. But they can then enforce them against people they don't like. And sometimes they do. In my illegal everything show, there was a guy who went to jail for 6 years because he sold seafood in the wrong box.
It leads to selective enforcement quite often, I think. And it's only the ones who are reported that are complained about by somebody.
And people say, well, these are the government officials, prosecutors, they're not venal, they're not evil. Why would they do this?
Because of the fact that they want to run for political office. Very often they want scalps. A lot attorney generals across you say attorneys general, but all over the United States, AGs are known as aspiring governors.
If they have a good conviction record.
And if they have all those scalps on the wall that they can point to when they run for governor or some higher office, that helps them get elected.
Sure.
So that very often they use these rules and regs and the scalps in their office in order to get elected. It's all politics.
So I don't know if you've ever held a yard sale, but what's the rule on that?
Well, across the country there are different rules. In my town, you can't have more than 2 yard sales a year. Some places you have to register them.
Well, we're looking at this picture here. This is a federal rule that says you cannot have a yard sale unless you've checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission that you're not going to sell anything that's been recalled.
And you would not believe the number of items that are recalled, and I guarantee nobody does this. But it is against the law to not cross-check with the Consumer Product Safety Commission database of recalled items.
Now, I understand you, being a criminal, have burned garbage in your yard.
No, I don't burn garbage. I burn yard waste.
Yard waste,
yes,
okay.
It is illegal to burn garbage, but in my town you can burn yard waste and paper.
If
it's in the proper container and it's covered by the proper mesh covering.
So you try to get the proper mesh covering.
Proper mesh cover, yes. First of all, I have never seen one of these, so I was very curious about this, and I had my doubts whether I would be able to obtain one or not. And you can see the picture there. I've got a cover.
That's the proper container, and then you finally found a hardware store that will sell you the cover, and it turns out to be
twice as big of openings as the legal requirement.
You know, this is an extraordinary thing. Eventually, when you have so many rules and regulations, you see this in Latin America all the time, one law will contradict another law that is still in place. So how can you have rule of law when one law contradicts another? It not only undermines the whole financial and economic system, but it undermines the rule of law itself.
And yet, they don't get rid of some of these. They just keep adding to them.
None go away.
Thank you, Ann Sattler and David Asman. Up next, the food police. They may be coming after you. Watch out.